Hey everybody, welcome to the Tuesday night Principal Chiro broadcast on Fat Tuesday. So nobody better to MC than me on Fat Tuesday because I've been eating all day. Got a great special treat tonight. I've been coming to DE since 2008. I was talking to Bre before we opened up to see. I think she was 8 years old when I first met her, and a lot of families in DE. A lot of people coming in second and now third generations of coming to DE. But when I first came to DE, Bre Lieberman was very, very influential in me coming back and being part of the family. And to watch his little family grow, and now to see a doctor coming out, from the and Lieberman always talked about he wanted to raise his family at DE, he wanted to raise the DE kids, and he's knocked a home run with this girl. So our speaker is Bre Lieberman. She's in 13th quarter at life, and she's peaking at Dr. Brian with Dr. Rebecca and Dr. Brian at their office. And when she graduates and passes those boards, she's going to just fit in right there in Rome, Georgia, where she was raised. So amazing full circle story for me to watch and observe, and just so proud of her. But before we introduce her, let's make sure that everybody gets registered. If you haven't registered, make sure you register for the DE April 10th through the 13th. It's at the beautiful Sandy Key Resort there in Clearwater, Florida. So make sure you get registered. The deadline to register is the hotel deadline is March 18th. Again, make sure now is kind of that lull time. It's been long enough from the last DE. Maybe you need to connect with your friends. It's great you're coming into Tuesday night calls. Great that you're on the Monday night calls and on the breaths and everything. But reach out to your team members and just celebrate your successes, or reach out if you need help. Sometimes now is where people just kind of start getting tired and just stop doing the things that make them successful. So reach out. If you have any questions, obviously call me anytime, or reach out to your team. Keep everybody pumped up. Keep it going. So we go back to DE in April. It's a celebration of all of our successes. So I think that's all the commercials I have. So let's get to the star of the show. Let's get to Bre. Bre, take over, dear.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I am just beyond humbled and grateful for this opportunity. I feel honestly a little bit silly being a student and speaking to what I would assume is a group full of doctors. But I hope that there's something that I can say today that helps you stay in your mission and stay in your passion. And if I can do that for one person, then I'm doing what I set out to do tonight. An aside for me is I have a very anxious dog that is going to be probably right here the whole time I'm doing this, so she might end up in my lap at some point. She's like a child to me, so if you hear her or see her, I apologize in advance, but she's like, "What are you doing? It's so late, Mom. We're supposed to be going to bed." So just to introduce myself, my name is Bre Lieberman. I am currently a 13th quarter student at Life University, getting ready to graduate. I'll be taking part 4 in May, and then I will be done. I am currently peaking with Dr. Rebecca Yan in my dad's practice, Lieberman Family Chiropractic in Rome, Georgia. We are in week 8 right now, so we're pretty much wrapping up, and it has been the last 3 months have truly just been the biggest growth period I would say that I've had in my life, especially in my chiropractic journey. Just being in the practice and getting to really put those skills to use and learn. I've learned so much in the past 3 months from everybody in my dad's practice, and it's just been such a blessing, and I'm just so grateful for the experience that I've had. But honestly, my talk tonight is not really much about that kind of stuff. I think my experience is pretty universal when it comes to my chiropractic journey and my school journey. It's definitely been as hard as everyone says it is, and I'm super excited to get out into the real world. But tonight, I think I really want to focus more on what I've experienced over the last few years, just in my personal growth, and how that's kind of attributed to my chiropractic journey, and kind of how I feel like those things correlate, how your personal journey and your personal growth affect your growth as a chiropractor, and obviously vice versa. Um, so, tonight, I hope I can portray that I certainly do not know everything. I am just a baby chiropractor, not even licensed. I am still very much so learning, still growing, still in that phase. But I hope that phase can provide something maybe to some more seasoned docs that need a little bit of excitement or need a little bit of encouragement. That's certainly kind of where I am in my journey, is in a very excited growth place. And so I just want to talk a little bit about how I got there, what I've kind of gone through the last few years, and what I'm looking forward to coming up in the next couple years. Um, so as I was preparing for this talk, I couldn't help but to think about the last time that I was asked to speak for anything, and it was actually for a GCC event about 2 years ago, almost to the date. It's pretty close, like last week, 2 years ago. And at that time in my life, I was really struggling. I feel very lucky that I was even asked to speak, because I don't necessarily know if I deserved it at that point in my life. I don't even know if I deserve it now, but um, I was certainly in a much different place than I am today, and I would consider it a much less happy, less fulfilled, less intentional version of myself. And it's really interesting because the talk that I actually gave at that GCC event kind of sent me down a whole path of change. And it's very interesting how just speaking my own feelings out loud to a group of people that I love and trust, and wanted to be vulnerable with, and give them a real conversation about my life and how chiropractic has impacted it. It really changed my life like a lot. In fact, I think the only thing that really hasn't changed since then about my life is my mission in chiropractic. And chiropractic has really been my anchor through all of the life changes that have kind of come in the last few years. The person that started chiropractic school, I don't even know who she is. I don't want to know who she is. She is dead and gone to me. And I'm so thankful that um, chiropractic has kind of encouraged me to find this better, happier, more fulfilled, more enlightened, deeper version of myself. And it's really because of how much I care about the profession and how much I care about my future patients, my current patients, that I just want to be truly the best version of myself. And chiropractic has really pushed me to find that version and to be that version for my community. So I want to give a little bit of context. The talk that I kind of gave at that GCC event 2 years ago, the premise was essentially that in 2015, on the way home from a Sarasota DE, I've been going to DE my entire life with my family. Very lucky to be born into this profession, completely born into the principled piece of this profession, which is a huge part of, I'm hoping my success in the future. But I was on the way home from a Sarasota DE, and I was on the plane, and I had the most innate moment where I really heard innate in my ear for maybe one of the first times in my like young adulthood. I think it's a lot easier as a kid to hear your innate. But I was a 15-year-old little girl really struggling with the world and how crazy it is. I was very lucky to be very sheltered as a young child. And so starting to experience the real world and real problems and real pain was really rocking my world at that time. And I remember just sitting on this plane. I had my headphones on, but I wasn't listening to anything at all. And I just had this drop in moment, and it was so clear, so quiet, but so clear. You're going to be a chiropractor. And I never before that moment thought that I would be a chiropractor. I was an arts girl. I was a theater girl. I was a band chorus girl. I was not a science math person whatsoever. I did not even believe in myself to that level. I did not think that there was any chance in hell that I would make it through chiropractic school. I had no faith in that at that moment. But that voice was so profound. I wish I could reproduce it so that people could hear what it sounds like for me, but it's the universe. It's that innate intelligence really dropped in that moment. And truly, from that day, I have never changed. Not a single time have I thought about doing anything else with my life. I've really been very connected to this profession, and I'm in love with it, obsessed with it. And it's becoming more and more. And that's something that I'm just so, so grateful for, that, getting through school didn't kill my love for chiropractic whatsoever. It's really just only growing with time. And I'm so excited to kind of see where that goes. But essentially, in that talk 2 years ago, I went on to speak about how my mission in chiropractic is for other people to be able to find that little voice. And, we talk about Sid, he's always said the wee little voice, and it is a little voice. It's not this big, booming, loud in your face voice. It's not the anxious voice. It's not the scared voice. It is a little voice. And I think cultivating it and giving it space and allowing it to grow is really difficult. At least it has been in my life. And I think my mission really is to remove subluxations from the world, from people everywhere, so that they can have a stronger connection to that voice. I really think that is, at the end of the day, my mission on this earth, is to connect people with that little voice, because I can't imagine where I would be in my life right now if I hadn't have had that drop in on that plane. I don't think that I want a world where I didn't have that. And so I can only imagine how many people are walking around subluxated, not connected to their purpose, not connected to what they're meant to do in this world, not connected to their values and their mission, not even knowing what their mission is. And it obviously doesn't have to be chiropractic. There are so many amazing missions, so many amazing things that people can do when they're clear. And so I think that is really my mission. I think what's very interesting is that it really has not changed. In 2 years, I can say that my mission really has stayed exactly the same, but I have changed completely, and I'm really, really grateful for that. I did share just a little photo of little me. This is probably around the time that me and Dr. Harding first met. I'm not exactly sure the year on this, but this is me at a Band of Brothers meeting, checking people in at my parents' office, probably around 2008 or 9. And I have a lot of little pictures like this, and I just really love them because they just remind me of how integral chiropractic is to my whole life. Like, it's always been such a huge piece, and continues to be. So the thing about that talk that I gave 2 years ago was that I was not living my mission at that time, like, at all. In fact, I didn't even know where to begin to start living that mission. I was completely stressed from school, struggling through school, didn't know how to study, didn't know how to take care of myself, just doing everything I could to just make it through each day. I have since learned that I definitely have ADHD. I don't treat it with anything other than, natural stuff, exercise, vitamins, and good chiropractic care. But at that time, I was not doing any of those things, and I was just struggling in every sense of the word. I knew as I was speaking that mission statement 2 years ago that I was not living that mission statement at all. And I knew that I had to make some changes to start living that purpose. I knew that I would not be able to serve people to my highest potential if I wasn't serving myself to my highest potential, if I wasn't taking care of myself to my highest potential. And so I think that really set me on a path of self-discovery and change And over the last 2 years, I pretty much turned my entire life upside down from who I was then. In fact, the day after I gave that talk, I broke up with my partner of 6 years. We were engaged at that time. And I knew that that was the first thing that had to go. It had nothing to do with the person. We were not serving each other whatsoever. We were not happy together. And I knew that that husk was the first one that needed to be shed for me to move on and start living in my truth and in my purpose. And it wasn't even because of the talk that that happened, but it was so divine. It was so perfect. And I really just started realizing, like, I need to start making some changes in my life to become the version of myself that can clear other people's subluxations, that can take care of other people's traumas and hold strong for other people, like patience in my practice. And I knew that I had to make some serious changes to myself if I wanted to become that version. And so um yeah, so to give a little bit more context about that time, I'm actually going to share a photo here in a moment. um that is I don't want to use the word triggering because I know that that's a trigger word within itself, but it's a bit triggering for me for sure. It represents me not taking care of myself in any regard. And I think it's important for context for people to see where you can come from and where you can get to, if you have the determination and the love. And for me, I really had to start changing. So at this time, 2 years ago, around this week, I was about 83 pounds. I had severe anxiety, pretty good depression as well, just struggling. I had no appetite because my anxiety was so bad. I wasn't intentionally starving myself, but I just was not happy. I could not regulate myself. My nervous system was completely out of whack, and it had been for a very long time, and I had not been taking care of myself for a very long time, and it was showing big time. Um and so I want to show just kind of the physical change that I've gone through over the last 2 years because I think it says a lot about my experience. But I want to talk about what I did to get from that version to this version. And I guess I will just go ahead and share the photo. Um, so these are side by side photos of me. The first one is that month, so March of 2023. And the picture on the right side is me as of about 2 days ago. Um, I don't know if it's obvious to everybody, but to me, it is very clear that I was extremely unhealthy and unhappy in that first photo. And I think it's important, not only for ourselves and our community as a chiropractic community, but even for our patients and community with them to be able to recognize these kinds of warning signs, and to be able to support people through these kinds of changes. Um, there is sometimes the symptoms become so physical because it's been such a long time of struggling that it becomes very external and very apparent. And this was probably the darkest and scariest time of my life. And I'm a very raw and vulnerable person. I can't come on here and talk bullshit to y'all. Like I have to be real about my life and what's important to me right now and what's changed for me recently, and this is it. So I think I want to talk mostly just about what have I changed? How did I get from 83 pounds to almost 110 now? What are the things that you can do if maybe you're struggling with your health, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, or you see someone in your practice that you can tell is struggling in that way, physical, emotional, spiritual, etc. I think it's hard when you're in a rut to get yourself out. I know that I definitely experienced that. And I just want to provide my steps and what I did over the last 2 years to kind of make these changes. And, the physical is just a symptom of what's going on internally for me 100%. So, this is not a gun show, although I will take it. If anyone says that my biceps look really good, I'll take that. Just kidding. That's a joke. So, the first thing that I think was the most important for me, and again, a lot of this is not specifically chiropractic. It will tie. It's all going to tie back in, but I think there's a lot of other things that are really important to health and wellness and to a full holistic health. Especially, I found that in my case. But for me, the first thing that I had to do was address my mental health, and that's a scary thing to do. Looking yourself in the mirror and taking responsibility and deciding that you've been making decisions for yourself for a very long time that are not serving you or anybody you love, and it's time to take responsibility for yourself and your actions and your decisions. It's difficult, man. It is not an easy thing to do. And I think a lot of people don't even get there because it's so painful and it's so hard to really see yourself, or at least try. I think even now I don't necessarily see everything clearly, but it's definitely gotten clearer with work. I got an incredible therapist who I still see every single week, sometimes every other week, but often. And I attribute a large, large percentage of my change in general to the conversations that I've had with my therapist and the things that I've unpacked with her. So I guess that's just me saying, if that sets off an alarm in your head that maybe you should get some support, or it sets off an alarm for you for one of your patients that maybe you should recommend them some support, maybe you should do that. Because I would have loved if somebody would have told me, like, here you go. Here's the name of a really good gal. Like, you should call her. She might be able to help you with what you're going through. She might have some insight on what you're going through. I think if I could have started that maybe 6 months before I got here to where I was in this first picture, it might have been a little bit easier to climb out of the hole that I had dug myself. So I strongly urge you to take a look in the mirror, take a look at yourself truly, and decide if you are in alignment with your values and with your goals and with our mission, our DE mission. I know we all share one mission, and that's to provide incredible chiropractic care and create a subluxation-free world. And if you're not doing things that align with that, I think that's the first place to start in making any changes in your life. So that was the first thing. The second thing was removing negativity from my life. I think this was a huge piece. This very unhealed and unhappy version of myself clung on to people, situations, places that did nothing but hurt me. And I really had to take a good look at my relationships with people, at my relationship with alcohol, at my relationship with partying and going out. It could be anything for you, but whatever your vice is, whatever that thing is, whether you allow people into your life that treat you like poop, and make you feel small and bad about yourself, or if you drink too much, whatever that means to you. I was never a heavy drinker, but it was too much for me. Whatever your vice is, whatever pops into your head when I say that, remove it. It's got to go. It has got to go. And all of this goes back to, if you want to be the chiropractor, if that you can be, you have to do it. And again, this all goes back to, like, it's because I'm in school. It's because I love this profession so much that I took the time and effort to do all of these things. I would have never gotten to this point if it wasn't for my love of chiropractic. And the true reason is to serve others, to give, to love, to serve with no expectation. The whole point is to be this empty vessel, to be this person that can just take on other people's things and let it go, and help people with what they need and let that go, and to just be this mirror and this vessel for others. That's really what it comes down to, but you have to start with yourself. And so if there are those people in your life that are not serving you, whoever comes to mind, just take a step back. There are some people that I've yet to have a conversation about why I took a step back from our relationship, and that's okay. It's not worth it to anybody. Like, you don't have to say anything. You can just take a step back. You don't have to make a big thing about it. You can just take a step back and focus on yourself. And I really feel like a lot of my big change started when I started just spending time with myself and being okay with being alone and not needing somebody to be there for me 24/7 and listening to my own internal thoughts and feelings and feeling my feelings alone without somebody being there, whether that's a friend or a partner or a parent or whoever that is for you. So I would highly recommend to take a look at your relationships to people, to objects, to attachments, et cetera, and see what is serving your purpose and what's not. Um, and then the third thing, and this one is huge for me, I really started trusting that innate voice, following that innate voice, and literally not giving a single fuck what anybody thought about it. And I think this is really can be really hard, especially for people that are more established, chiropractors that have been in the field for 30 years. How do you just, decide to start being true to yourself and uproot your whole life? For me, I was in a position where I was able to do that, but it's not easy. Even at my young age, it was really, really hard. But it is absolutely the catalyst. If you want to be innately led, innately driven, you have to listen to your innate. It's like actually simple, but it's really, really difficult in practice. For me, the main thing that comes to mind is my relationship now. I am gay, very gay, and I have an incredible partner that sees me and takes care of me and is on an equal playing field with me. And we want the same things and we have the same goals. They are not in chiropractic at all, but our goals for our life mirror and we make sense. We fill the gaps for each other. I'm like her personal trainer and she's like my chef. So it works out really, really well. And I owe a huge piece of my physical health and my ability to get to almost 40, I'm not good at math, 30, 40 pounds, in gained weight since I started being with this person, because they are a wonderful chef and they feed me very well. So find the people, it doesn't have to be a partner, but whoever it is, find the people in your life that are on your path with you, that are going to walk alongside you, that are going to fill in the holes that you need filled, whether that's I hate cooking and they are great at it, or they don't know what to do in the gym and I can help them with that. Like whatever that is for you, whatever gaps you have and need help with, find the right people that can help you because life is interpersonal. And I think this is one of the things I learned in therapy is, you learn the most from your interpersonal relationships. You don't learn in isolation. You don't learn just by doing things on your own. You learn when you apply it with somebody else. And so I think creating strong relationships in your life with people that understand your path, understand your purpose, and are there to support you is a huge factor. And aside from that, I also dove into some other like healing modalities, not for me to practice, but just for me to experience, some meditation, some past life regression. I got into a lot of other just really cool healing modalities that I think really helped me. And I think if I would have listened to the external voices that were in my circle at that time, I probably would have never gotten into that stuff. And I think it made a huge difference in my happiness and my overall self-love, love for the world, et cetera, et cetera. Some mindfulness practices certainly made an impact for me there. And then lastly, and this kind of ties back to my images here, once I kind of got all of those first three priorities straight and I was really kind of getting on my path, I took it to the next level very recently by actively making choices for myself, actively loving myself, actively doing the things that I know in 6 months I'll be so proud of. And that, if you would have told me 3 years ago that I would ever be doing the things I'm doing today, I would have laughed in your face because I would not have believed that I would have the capabilities to treat myself as good as I'm treating myself. And if you struggle with that, I am in your corner. If you need somebody to empower you, to love on you, to tell you that you're enough and you're worth it, I would be more than happy to be that person. But you are enough and you are worth it. Whatever you need to do to help yourself love you, start doing it today, because your patients deserve a version of you that loves yourself. Your patients deserve a version of you that feels strong, that feels happy. I could go on and on about this, to be honest, but in the last 3 months, it has been my New Year's resolution this year. I've never stuck to a New Year's resolution in my life. So just so y'all know, I'm not that girl, but something has changed within me. I will give credit to Wicked. And I have really just been on this wellness kick, this health kick. And I hope it's not a kick. I hope that it is just a lifestyle change, but it's been going really strong for the last 3 to 4 months. And I'm really proud of myself. My goal for this year is to be in the gym for 222 days. I don't know why that is my angel number of choice, but it breaks down to about 4 to 5 days a week. And I've been doing 5 to 6 for the last 3 months, just because I've somehow really fallen in love with exercise, which I literally never thought I would say. But wow, learning that I can be strong, truly strong, that I can go in the gym at 5 foot nothing. I'm 5 foot nothing for anybody that hasn't seen me in real life. I'm 5 feet tall, truly. Almost midget status, but I didn't quite make the cut. But to go into the gym and lift heavier than a lot of the men that are standing right next to me is the most empowering thing one of the most empowering things I've ever done. And so, I mean, I know everyone says exercise, obviously, and of course we're chiropractors. You all know how important that is. But I really can't stress enough how much it has impacted my personal growth. And I think it's taken me from liking myself and like working on myself to really being proud of myself and loving myself. And it has nothing to do with the physical part of it. It's the emotions that come along with it. It's the way that I feel about myself that has really changed everything for me. So my takeaways, what I've learned over the last few years and why this is so important to me is I think we really, and I'm sure y'all have all heard this, but unfortunately I do think it's really true, that we can only help other people heal to the level that we have healed ourselves. And I think I've really experienced that. And I really think I'm getting to a place where I'm a more healed version of myself than I ever thought was possible. And it is really amazing to see how that can affect my patients, affect the practice, affect my life, affect other people's lives. It's just crazy. It's definitely a ripple effect. But I think to be a truly good chiropractor means to be a truly good person. And there's really no two ways about it. It just is, like, they just coincide. If you want to do this for real, you have to do this for real, which is taking care of yourself and loving yourself and taking whatever steps it is for you that help you love yourself. I've definitely learned that living in my truth is the most innately led thing that I can do, and it has completely aligned me with my purpose. I have really tried to teach myself in the last few years how to listen to that little voice and not outside voices, and to make decisions that are really for me, but for the greater good, and doing it for me so that I can make a bigger impact. And I really encourage everybody to think about a world where everybody is able to live fully in their truth, where everybody is able to experience love and compassion and kindness and forgiveness, and live without fear and instability. I mean, there's just so much in our world that we take for granted, but also that is still affecting so many people. And I envision a world where chiropractic is completely integrated and everyone goes to the chiropractor first because they know that they need to get connected to that little voice, and they know that they will make better decisions when they're connected to their innate intelligence. If people understood that that's what chiropractic is, I think we could be in a whole different world right now, and I'm really looking forward to trying to create that world. So throughout this whole process, I have really, I think, found my passions, and what are going to help me get, sustain this passion and excitement throughout my life. And for me, that has been taking care of kiddos. I just got my Webster certification a couple weekends ago, and I've been working with so many kids in the practice, and wow, I have just completely fallen in love with taking care of kids. The second photo there is actually me with 2 kiddos in Peru. I was on a mission trip in Peru last April. I could do a whole talk just about the way that experience impacted me. Insane. If you have the opportunity to go on a mission trip, it was one of the most life-changing experiences that I've ever had. And I can't wait to do another one, but I really fell in love with kiddos there. And then it's only grown being in the practice that I'm in. This picture on the left is, I think, the first baby that I adjusted in the practice. And they happened to snap a picture, and I'm really grateful for that. So yeah. And then, obviously I just want to reiterate that taking care of kiddos supports this mission that I'm on. I want these kids to have that light, to have that innate intelligence in them from a young age, and to keep it, to sustain it as they grow into adulthood. I think that the world would be such a different place if everybody was able to be connected to their innate intelligence from a young age, and to maintain that through their teenage years, through their 20s, through their 30s, 40s, 50s, and all the way to death. I just can't imagine what that world would look like. And I know we have a long way to go, but I'm quite excited to keep pushing towards that. So I think that's everything I have to say. I will do a little tiny personal plug, which is that my biggest dream in the next 5 years is to move to Europe. Probably not forever, but just maybe for a few years. And I would love to work with some amazing chiropractors out there. So if anybody has any contacts for me, I will gladly take them. I will be going to Europe for the first time this summer after I graduate, and I would love to go visit some practices, and kind of just see what's going on over there. So if anybody has any contacts, please, if you're open to sharing, I would love to learn about anybody over there that's doing the mission and doing chiropractic big. I hope that this has helped somebody in some way. If you're in a rut, you can get out. It just takes a lot of determination and grit, but we have the most amazing profession in the world. Just going to work every day is such a privilege for me. I'm so, so grateful to be out of a classroom and into my real life of doing what I love. And if you have forgotten that, if you've been in practice a long time, and if you've forgotten how incredible what you do is, and how beautiful it is, and the healing that you get to witness every day, I recommend thinking about that a little bit more, because I am so over the moon, just happy to be experiencing that right now in my peak office. So yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you, everybody, for the kind comments. I really appreciate you guys, and I don't want to make this any longer than 40 minutes. I've been rambling for long enough. So thank y'all. I appreciate you. I love you, my DE family, and thank you for having me on this call.
On your slide, you had your mission. Your mission's accomplished. You did a great job, kid. I got 3 pages of notes. You have no idea how far-reaching what you think, say, and do today affect thousands and millions down the road. I'm sure there are people who had to, again, either students or people like me, a bunch of white hair, had to reflect on, okay, it's good what you said. You are enough, and you are worth it. You are enough, and you are worth it. And that's if you can just keep saying that to yourself over and over again, and be comfortable getting quiet, and just being authentic with yourself. I mean, you just open your heart in front of everybody, and that's what we need, and that's what we wanted to hear. And now we all know you better, and we love you more. So thank you so much. You did a knockout, just great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me. I can't help but to just spill my guts to y'all because I feel so loved and supported by this community that I can't help but to be real. That's just who I am. So I hope that it's been good for somebody.
For some reason, Nate told me to ask you, and after listening to you talk, I absolutely understand why God gave it to us. So you did a great job, kiddo. And everybody have a great night, and we'll get you registered for DE and come see that girl at DE with us all. Love you all. Have a great night. Look at those guns she's got. Yeah, love it. Love
Bye,
it.
everyone.
Bye, everybody.